If you know you're spending about $300 on groceries or $400 on groceries, $500 on groceries, you should be using a credit card that has a grocery multiplier, meaning that if I spend $1, I get 4 points. I spend $1, I get 3 points. I spend $1, I get 5 points of whatever that credit card's currency is, because you're going to. Another thing you got to pay attention to, right, is how you are, when you're applying for credit cards, how you're spending your money or what your highest bill is. A lot of people do not budget. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you know you're spending about $4,000 on groceries, that's a lot of money on groceries. I meant to say 400. Jesus, my grocery bill a month is 350. If you know you're spending about $300 on groceries or $400 on groceries, $500 on groceries, you should be using a credit card that has a grocery multiplier, meaning that if I spend $1, I get 4 points. I spend $1, I get 3 points. I spend $1, I get 5 points of whatever that credit card's currency is, because you're going to spend the money anyway. You're going to eat anyway. You're going to go to the pharmacy anyway. You're going to go to the grocery store anyway. Don't change your behavior. Change where it starts. Don't add more bills. Change where you start the transaction. So that's number 4. I'm getting there.
We're getting there. Just so you know, this amazing information. I hope, again, this goes back to notes. Listen, we only bring you all the best here at 850 Club. I just want to make sure, because see, a lot of times people say, man, you know what? I would be hitting my goals. I don't have the information. This is the information. I just wanted to say that piece. Continue on.
So, and I say this because, right, I don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey says. I don't.
Yeah, cool. No.
People over here, right? But he is true about one thing, that people tend to overspend when it comes to credit. That's why having a budget is vitally important. But you can use credit to your advantage. There's times where my aunt had to go to Jamaica last year. She goes like every 3 months because she's retired and she lives her best life. But this is maybe like over the summer. And my uncle decided that he wanted to go a week before. So, a week before a trip is expensive. And he's like, oh, it's $1,300. I'm not doing that. Colleen, I'm not doing that. I said, all right, let me figure it out. So I went to my aunt's back end of her Amex card and I looked and I said, Auntie, you got enough. Let's figure this out. And all we did was move her points around. And the trip ended up being $1,300 to about $250 they had to pay out of pocket because she had all these points. And these points were not from things that she was going and spending Louis bag this and da. It wasn't from that. It was from things she already does. And I had this conversation with my aunt 4 years ago. Auntie, you always cooking. Please use this card at the like my aunt gets so many multipliers off of groceries. It's not even funny. She cooked for the church. She cooked for the house. She has a senior center that she's one of the directors for. She cooked for there. So she's spending money at the grocery store all the time. I'm like, Auntie, just do, because she would use cash. And I one time when I was her, she took cash out. I slapped it right out her hand. Now I'm gonna tell you this, right? My family's very Jamaican. So that is very disrespectful to do. But, and this is my aunt. Like, do you know how you have those aunties that's like your mother? Like, we joke and say that my mom was a surrogate and my aunt just took me from her and that was it. Like, and it was very rude for me to do this. But my instinct was, Auntie, what are you doing? Go. And she looked at me. She said, I didn't bring you in this world, but I will take y'all. I said, Auntie, please, I'm sorry. But you cannot use cash in front of me at the grocery store. You get what I'm saying? Because I know she has that Amex Gold card. That's going to get 4 times the points. And then when it's time to book a flight, she's going to come say, Rashida, and I know she's going to do it.
Yeah.
Safe to say, she never did it again. And we had a moment about it. And I had to apologize. And we did get our nails done after. And it was definitely on me. However, I just say that to prove a point that you have to start, just if you get in the mindset of it, if it's gas, look at what the card is offering you.